What's up guys, Hiking here bringing you our review on the latest Boruto episode. I believe episode 15. So yeah, the current arc is now officially over, and what an arc it was. Now I do apologize for not doing reviews on the whole series, as it was going on, but really this arc as a whole was just sort of boring at times. There were certainly good moments at times, but for the most part it was okay. It served as an introduction to Boruto's world, to the characters of Boruto, and sort of just easing us in to that new world that is Boruto. Again, sorry for repeating myself, but that's the case and point of it. Anyway, today's episode served to be an epilogue to this first arc in terms of closing off a lot of the loose ends while also setting up new things to come. If there's one thing I like about this episode in particular, it's the final few minutes and the various endings that we get, especially the new ending itself as well, which is very cool. I'll get into in a minute. But yeah, this arc as a whole, in terms of last episode, honestly, the final action moments that we got were really cool. When it comes to the animation, this Boruto as a whole is very good and done very well. I mean, you can tell it's the team that they Bleach, for Christ's sake. They do a very good job in terms of animating this. Yeah, sometimes you get the little dull moments, but as a whole, it's a very decent anime. And yeah, last week's episode was definitely very cool. That moment with Mitsuki and Sumuri, as she's called, I think, when they're just running at each other and use their various powers to counterattack, that was pretty cool. And Noor as well. I mean, again, the whole concept of this first arc was just sort of like a guessing game. Who was the main villain of this arc? You're trying to figure out who that is, and in the end, the answer was pretty obvious. I mean, when you have a character that's getting such focus and you're wondering why, when this character's not even in the manga, you have to wonder, why is this character getting so much focus? And the answer obviously is because they're the culprit. Obviously I didn't see that coming. It didn't click for me until the episode before, when we actually got the answer, and it's like, oh yeah, it's probably her. And then the next episode it confirmed it, so it's like, yeah, it's her. But it's a lot more obvious when you go back and watch it and pay attention to all the clues. So in that regard, this arc was actually very interesting, especially with how they tied Donzo to it all. I mean, the dude's dead, and even from beyond the grave, he's a spirit and ideals sort of live on. So it was very cool to tie that in, especially with Sai's character and his beliefs and how that's going on with the village at the moment. In terms of a character who got a lot of development, I would have to say Shino. I mean, this is a character in the original series that he was very interesting, very cool, but he never really had that moment to shine for himself. He did get his moments during filler arcs, filler episodes and such, and those were really cool. Whenever Shino was involved in that, they shined with him, as he, with him in the center of it, if he was always the central figure. So, but in terms of a main story, they never really did a good job. But this, in terms of just an introductionary arc, I feel like they did a good job. I mean, this dude is a teacher now. He was being made fun of, only to sort of lose his mind, and then he corrects himself, and he grows as a character. Now he starts caring more. The fact that he takes responsibility on himself as sort of this father figure for Sumuri, that's really cool to see. So it kind of shows the amount of depth that Shino's character has gone through. He's shown that he's a very qualified, very caring person. So that's nice to see from his character. So that's very great. And I can't wait to see more of him as the series goes on. Hopefully he'll play more of a role and not just in this little arc here. But yeah, this episode as a whole, in terms of just wrapping stuff up and setting things up as well. Sumuri basically came back. She finally realized that, yeah, her friends are more important. That's the choice she makes. And at first I thought this whole episode was gonna focus on all the characters coming together and trying to convince her to come back, but no, that's not the case. She comes back of her own free will. There's a bit of a mystery there to it of obviously of whether or not she is going to return or not, but she does. There's not really much of apologizing going on, so it's nice to see that these characters do consider her a friend. They do understand the hardship she's gone through, and they accept her and she accepts them, and it's nice to see that. In terms of setting new things up, we start to get the beginning moments of the three-man squad. We start to see the people, the characters being put into their teams. We see Shikadai with Inujin and Chojo, and obviously that's the Shikajin Choj formation. Was that what it's called? I think I got that part wrong, but hey, obviously that makes sense. You'd think Shikadai and Boruto would stay as a team, because it looks like they're the best of friends. That does not appear to be the case. And obviously, if you read the manga and seen Boruto the movie, you know that those three in the end are going to get together, and it makes sense. It's sort of like this cultural history thing. I mean, when you watch Naruto as well, like the original series, and when he was in school, Naruto always hanged out with Choji and Shikamaru. So you'd think those three would be close, but that's not the case. You know, in the end, those two specifically ended up with Ino, and they, that's part of their culture. They have to form that team. So this is kind of a fact. Like, those three are gonna end up together, even if they probably don't want to. Like, it's probably a thing that their families would have to do. It's culture. It's part of the thing. Like, they have to do that. They have to be in that team. Like, if you're part of that clan, and those three are gonna end up together as a team. That's just kind of a cultural inheritance, I believe. And then you of course have Naruto and Boruto. Seriously, some of these characters are very similar at times. Like, it's getting really annoying. They really need to do more of a good job of like developing these characters' personalities and just spacing them out a bit. But yeah, Boruto and Mitsuki. Mitsuki especially, like, is definitely sticking Boruto to the very end. He's not leaving his side at all. And it's getting a bit creepy and obsessive now at this point, but I'm hoping they do more of a job of developing that relationship. But yeah, as a whole, obviously it makes sense. What doesn't make sense, however, is that they end up with Metal Lee as part of their team. Obviously, because it's Detsuki and Iwabe who end up with Sarada. Now, obviously, these two characters do not exist in the manga yet. I say yet because I do have a prediction that those two are going to end up with Metal Lee. So, because next episode we're gonna get focus on these two, about whether or not they're going to fail the exam that's going to get them out of the academy, I think, and into like into becoming ninjas or graduate ninjas. So either they're going to fail, which I don't think is going to happen considering the amount of time they spent developing these characters and having them in this first arc. So I'm thinking they're going to be Metal Lee's teammates, because I don't think we ever actually saw who Metal Lee's teammates were. So I'm still under the impression that's who they're going to end up with. Those two girls that were Sumeri's friends, I think those three are going to end up as a team as well. We did get introduced, or I think we got introduced to this character beforehand, but it's some weird chick with like dolls and that. So I'm wondering what team she's going to end up with. Detsuki and Iwabe are definitely not going to fail. So they're either going to have Metal Lee as their teammate, or it's going to be that chick, or maybe it's going to be Sumeri. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm convinced these two are not going to flop. Next episode's going to be about them working so hard to the point where they're going to pass, and we're going to see who their third teammate is. It's going to either be Metal Lee or someone else, but we're going to have to wait and see for that. Overall, that's pretty much the gist of what happens in this episode. We do get a moment for Boruto and Naruto as well. Hinata showing her motherly instincts and seeing what's wrong and getting Himari out of there to help her with the dinner and that, and just giving Naruto and Boruto a little quiet moment together, because they never have moments together, and them just having sort of a little discussion of what's going on. Boruto's eye powers aren't working anymore after the incident, so that's interesting to see. Obviously, we know that his eye powers do not work during Boruto the movie events, so he's not going to have them during that time period. He's going to get them back obviously after, when he gets the curse from Momoshiki. And speaking of Momoshiki and that, the ending, like I said, the final parts of this episode are what make it. We get a Naruto clone, running to this location. We don't know where it is, we don't know if it serves a purpose, but he's going to this location and he meets with Sasuke, and we see how this introductory arc, how the events of this arc tie into the next ongoing arc that's happening, and the scroll that Naruto got from the jutsu, from this jutsu that Danzo was making with the foundation that was used on Sumori to, go into another dimension and calling Noir. He gives that scroll to Sasuke. And we basically find out that Danzo was very close to achieving the same sort of jutsu that Kaguya was doing in terms of draining people from their chakra. So it's very similar to that. I also got the impression that the scroll was sort of the key to understanding and using the dimensional powers to travel to different dimensions that do not exist in their time period world, I think. I'm a bit confused in that part. But I think, Sasuke said he's very closer now to maybe using this to unlocking the locational access, or gaining access to Kaguya's dimension, because as you all remember in Shippuden, Sasuke never had the ability to go to Kaguya's dimension. That was the 6 parts. He got them out in the end. He didn't get them. Sasuke wasn't the one that got them out, and neither was Obito. They could only use the dimensions, connected to Kaguya's dimensions. So that was all in one space. But Sasuke wants access to that, and obviously that's going to lead to the beginning moments of Boruto the movie. We then cut to, obviously before that, Sasuke tells Naruto to apologize to Sakura, obviously, and Naruto says that he's the one that's sorry because Naruto's always the one that sent Sasuke on this mission, and it's obviously going to lead to those final moments, and it's obviously also going to lead to the Naruto Gaiden arc as well, because that's going to play some sort of small role as well. We then cut to Tonore, and I like how they used Tonore. This is a character they didn't just forget or skip. He appears in the show, and it just further illustrates how important the events of the last were. So the fact that they're using Tonore, again, it's great to see that. He makes mention of Jogo. I don't know what that is meant to be. Now, I got the impression it's either another monster summoning, like Nuwa, or it's the name of either Boruto's Eye Jutsu, or whatever it is, or it's the name of another Utsuki clan member villain, perhaps, that we haven't seen yet, and is going to be making his appearance later on in the series. Speaking of Utsukis, we then cut to a familiar location from Boruto the movie, and we meet with Momoshiki and his crony. So yeah, we get introduced to Momoshiki in the Boruto anime now at this point. And as you'll remember from Shippuden, we never really found out why Kaguya was doing what she was doing. We know that she was running away. We did see the skeletons of 3 characters, Momoshiki and Romo, I forgot his name, Christ, the big dude, and this other more slender dude. There was a 3rd one there. We don't know who that is. Maybe that's Jogo, or maybe that's someone else. But what's interesting about this is we get this line of dialogue saying that they'll have to report back to the clan. And that just immediately starts firing up, all kinds of new speculation. So that means the Ototsuki clan isn't done yet. There are going to be more of these guys coming on later down the series. This is obviously a setup for what's to come next. It's going to be very interesting to see what this means. As you all know, right? I believe Kishimoto wanted to delve into the Ototsuki clan more, along with Kaguya's backstory during that arc when we got to it, but he had to rush it in the end. So obviously there was more stuff he wanted to do and he couldn't. So I'm wondering if this is somehow connected to that, and we're going to be seeing this surviving clan. Maybe there's more clans as well, because after all, these guys are sort of like time-dimensional travelers and beings. So obviously there has to be more of these guys somewhere in the Naruto world, and it's going to be interesting to see that. I'm getting the impression that we're going to get Naruto in space. I mean, we already got like the whole move fight, right? But I'm thinking that's what this whole series is going to lead up to, like this sort of time, like traveling through different dimensions and space and that. So I'm thinking we're going to get something like that. It's going to be very weird if that's the case, but it's going to be very interesting to see new different worlds, especially if Sasuke is going all out trying to gain this new upgrade for his eye, so he can go through these different dimensions. So that's going to be very interesting to see. And obviously these guys, they're after Kaguya and finding out what she was doing, so they're going to be going after her and this new world as well, and how this all ties up and leads up eventually into future storylines. I don't know, but obviously it's not all going to end. As we know from Boruto, the manga at the moment, Boruto ends up getting this curse mark from Momoshiki, so that's going to have to play some role in the manga, and it's already going to be connected to something possibly in the anime as well, so that's going to be interesting to see. Speaking of the Boruto manga, I just read the latest chapter, and it was, in terms of an action chapter, it was okay, I guess, but as a whole, this current arc has just been sort of like a meh arc. It feels like the small kind of arc you get when after you had a big one, so that's what it feels like, obviously, and I get why they're doing it, but at the same time it feels like such a waste of time as well. Like, we're not learning any new information, and the villain for the most part is a joke. I mean, the whole idea of him having to eat the brain and that in order to get the appearance in that's pretty gruesome and great, I would say. If we actually got to see that ability being used, but obviously this is a shonen manga. It's not like Attack on Titan, so we're never gonna get dark, extreme shit like that. But just as a whole, like, it just feels very disappointing to sit down and read this and not really move the plot forward in any meaningful way. Especially considering you've got the anime now sort of catching up, because it's pretty much, we've gotten the schedule for the next few episodes, and it's pretty much confirmed that we're going to be getting the Naruto Gaiden arc adapted starting from August 9th with a Sarada Uchiha episode. That's what it's called, Sarada Uchiha. Obviously that's the, I believe, the title of the first chapter in the Naruto Gaiden. So yeah, we're getting that. If you want a further proof as well, the new ending also is pretty much a massive spoiler hint at this next arc that we're getting, and that's pretty cool to see. The new ending was just Sarada focused completely on her and her relationship with Sakura and Sasuke, and little glimpses of Karin as well, and you know, just the similarities with the glasses between them. Obviously, if you read the manga, you know, they hinted that maybe Karin is her mother, and obviously a glimpse of the villains and Shin and the mini Jubi or Jubimon, or as you call it. That thing is creepy as hell and cute at the same time, yeah. But yeah, it's nice to see that. When I saw the ending, I was just like, yo, we're finally getting that arc adapted. I always assumed you would get it in Shippuden, but that wasn't the case. But we're getting it here, and it makes more sense that we're going to be getting it in Boruto. We got on the graduation, the academy arc, and now we're sort of getting the Gaiden arc, and then we're obviously going to be leading up to maybe more sort of one-on-one little small episodes like we're getting now. We're starting from next week. And then we're obviously going to get an extension of the Boruto movie arc in anime form. So that's going to be interesting to see. And yeah, as a whole, this episode was definitely good in terms of just setting out what's to come and getting the hype rolling. Obviously, the next few episodes are going to be sort of standalone-ish, but very important in terms of the characters. It's going to be very interesting to see where Iwabe and Densky end up next week. And then the episodes afterwards, we're obviously getting another reimagining, I think, or recreation of the day Naruto became Boruto, or the aftermath of it. So, the day Naruto became Hokage, aftermath of it. So we're going to get something like that, I believe, and then we're going to get that Gaiden arc. But yeah, as a whole, good episode. Endings were especially great, and the overall ending animation was superb. Probably the best thing that's come out from this anime so far. And that's saying a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a good anime, but it's okay for the most part. It could be better, and from the animation and fighting scenes we've got, and you know it can be better. So hopefully it does get better. Hopefully with them adapting stuff, you know, material from the manga and mangas, it'll get better. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, overall, decent episode. And if you guys like my review, as always, like and subscribe, whatever. And I shall see you when I shall see you. Take care and bye.